So the question is, what is BMS and is it worth it? Falcon 4.0 is a combat flight simulator released in 1998. Benchmark Sims is a community-led mod that significantly enhances the original game, adding new features, improved graphics, flight models, and much more with regular updates. Falcon BMS, or just known as BMS, is the most accurate F-16 representation available for public use. It focuses on the F-16 and places you in the middle of a dynamic war that changes based on what you and all of your allies do in the air, sea, and ground. Power grids and supplies are taken into account for providing resources to the frontline fighters. It also implements NASA data to the flight model and controls of the digital fly-by-wire systems that the F-16 utilizes. Multiple blocks and F-16 variants are included, like the F-16 Block 30s, 40s, 50s, and even the 50 pluses, all the way to the F-16Is for the Israel Air Force with conformable fuel tanks and EW suite, and many more other blocks and variants. It also includes various missions and campaigns for virtual pilots to engage in combat scenarios, both solo and multiplayer. BMS also features dynamic weather, detailed avionics systems, and a high level of realism in terms of the flight dynamics and weapons. What sets BMS apart is the level of detail in the flight model and dynamics, which is explained in many articles. I have the articles in the description below if you're interested in reading. Additionally, BMS has a dynamic campaign where you are placed in a war. You are a small part of that war, with the air, ground, and sea units all doing their part to win. Ground units move to take cities and towns, while aircraft and factories provide supplies and power to all air bases. It is your job to do your job for that specific flight. All you have to do is fly, and the engine will create air and surface threats, all while creating friendly units, so there is no need to create missions while in a campaign. However, there is an option to create custom missions where you are more in control of the battle. Whether Falcon 4 BMS is worth it depends on your personal preferences, interests, and expectations. If you care about graphics so much that BMS is a turnoff, then BMS is probably not for you. But there are some new updates in the future for BMS on that specific subject. There were two things that held back people from playing BMS. It was VR and graphics. Now that VR is implemented, now the only thing left is graphics. I know, I get it. It's nice to see cars, train tracks, and trees when you're on the ground, but that is something you're not really worried about defending a force of flankers when you're trying to perform a strike on an airbase under the radar of a SA-17 with the seed flight trying to cover you. If you're interested, find a group on Discord to fly with and learn. Falcon Lounge and UAF is a good place to start for experienced members and even new ones. Remember, it is your responsibility to learn on your own. Do not expect one-on-one instruction every step of the way. It is important to note that Falcon BMS is a study sim. It has a very steep learning curve, especially for those new to flight simulators. These type of simulators aren't for everyone, and you may need to use another simulator for your aviation needs. Ultimately, whether or not you like Falcon 4 BMS is up to you. Make sure you watch videos and use your own judgment to see if you like it or not. To install a copy of BMS, all you need is a valid copy of Falcon 4.0, and it's very cheap on Steam. If you made it this far, you should probably download it and see if it's right for you. In the comments below, please tell me what you like and dislike about Falcon BMS. I will try to reply and read all of them, and I'll see you in the next one.